Eddie Hearn wants to see Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia. He says in a new interview, only problem, does Team Haney want it? That's what I want to talk about in this video. Eddie Hearn is in Saudi Arabia. Obviously, there's the Tyson Fury fight. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel. I am going to read you a quote as Eddie Hearn is eyeing a Haney-Garcia rematch despite Ryan's 2 failed tests, testing positive for Ostarine. I've done extensive coverage on the subject. Check those videos on the channel. But Eddie Hearn says this is a fight that would be absolutely bonkers and huge to run it back. Eddie Hearn says, and I quote, "Imagine you're Devin Haney. You had to fight this guy, Ryan Garcia, that is a lot heavier than him, and now you found that out as well," right? So I gotta stop Eddie Hearn. They didn't do a same-day rehydration clause. They didn't do an unofficial weigh-in through the broadcaster. So that's BS to put that out there like that, because Team Garcia is saying that Henry Garcia literally just did an interview, and he said that he seen Devin's thigh when he went to check on the wraps and went into Devin's dressing room, and he said Devin's thighs were bigger than his, and he said that they're claiming that Devin was bigger on fight night, and we know Devin has also had a history of rehydrating pretty well. You know, in the Lomachenko fight, most notably before the Garcia fight, it would have been the Regis Prograis fight, where they said he rehydrated 25 pounds. So without knowing the unofficial or having any kind of same day weigh-in, you don't really know what Ryan weighed. It's just based on the eye test. And to say that he was way bigger and way huge and stuff, we knew Ryan was about ½ inch taller, but again, I have to stop right there because we don't know either guy's weight. They could have been within, 5 pounds of each other, but they're pitching this narrative that Ryan was so huge, and that's one of the major reasons. It's kind of like you have to pick a side and pick an argument and keep it there, right? Did Ryan win because of PEDs? Before the PED knowledge came out, they said it was because he was too heavy. Now it's a combination of he's too heavy, it's the left hook, it's the PEDs. It's just like, it sounds like just a horrible night. But let me continue. Eddie Hearn says, time is a good healer. The rematch is going to be huge. I believe the rematch will happen at some point, but we'll wait and see. He goes on to say, that's been ordered by the WBC. The fight with Sandor Martin is mandatory. He said it's a good fight for Devin. It's not an easy fight. Ryan was in Saudi Arabia, or is in Saudi Arabia as well. He got invited. Devin Haney didn't show up. He did go to Saudi previously for another card, but he probably doesn't want to be bothered with media and, people interviewing him, and Ryan's there. So there's a picture floating around of Eddie Hearn and Ryan Garcia, to which Eddie Hearn talks about that encounter. He says, and I quote, "Ryan Garcia walked up to me and said, 'Let's squash the beef.' I was like, I keep saying on your behalf that I hope that you're innocent, but you still failed 2 drug tests. Don't say it's my fault because that's ridiculous. No, I've been set up. Well, you haven't certainly not been by me. I think a lot of what Ryan Garcia does is to create noise and hype, and he does a great job of it." End quote, Eddie Hearn. Now, I want to talk about a couple things. For starters, I wonder how Devin even feels that the guy he brought in for the Haney-Garcia fight is all smiles taking pictures with Ryan Garcia in Saudi Arabia, and everybody's having a good time, and he's at home or on vacation or whatever, missing the festivities, and we're waiting for the B sample, which will be open next week. Ryan says it could very well be positive, but I'm just curious what they're thinking, seeing the guy that they brought in to help them, and he's, around with Ryan Garcia, and now he's pitching for a rematch. One big problem is Eddie Hearn is saying that he can see a rematch happening because it's a big fight. I told you that I also feel this would be a big fight for boxing. And even in instances where the fighter believes someone cheated, it's almost like the fighter code. Of course, no one wants to get cheated, but most people are pushing for the rematch as long as it's on an even terms and stringent drug testing, or if it's like Miguel Cotto, we got to make sure and double check and triple check and have the commission make sure the raps are okay. However the person cheated, it just needs to be under a microscope. Now, nobody's saying that Devin Haney should go into a Ryan Garcia fight if he's cheating, but I think this will forever kind of be something that haunts Devin Haney if he doesn't actually rematch Ryan Garcia. Now, the problem with Eddie Hearn saying it is Eddie Hearn, again, he's in Saudi Arabia taking pictures with Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia previously said he was going to punch him in the face. Ryan Garcia did interviews the same day he met Eddie Hearn, and he was saying that Eddie Hearn's being a BZ, a BITCH, right? And then they're taking pictures together. Devin, again, is out the picture, and Eddie Hearn's saying the rematch would be big. The other thing where we're talking about Eddie Hearn in the drug test, I feel like Eddie can't say too much because he's had fighters that he's pushed for, like Conor Benn, who have failed drug tests, and he was on their side. Now Ryan Garcia isn't your fighter, and you're pretty much contracted to help the other side, which is the Haneys, and now he's acting like, you know, talking about cheating is bad, but you had cheaters like Dillian White, who failed drug tests multiple times throughout his career. And then you had Conor Benn. You even have Alicia Baumgardner, who's in Haney's team. So it's pretty hypocritical to be promoting certain fighters that have failed a drug test and even fighting for the fighters who have failed a drug test. But then Eddie Hearn commenting, you know, on this is wrong and stuff like that. That's one issue. But back to the rematch business. Will it happen? I don't know. Devin Haney, the day the news broke that Ryan Garcia was implicated or had tested positive with the ostarine, and one of the nandrolone metabolite, the testing, they needed more comprehensive testing. That wasn't a cause for Team Haney to wait. They still put him on ESPN, and he said he doesn't want a rematch. So despite Eddie Hearn saying it, does Devin Haney and his team want the rematch? To me, I've already said it. Now you even have somebody who worked with Team Haney multiple times, including the last fight where they're saying he was cheated, right? And he's even saying, despite the failed test, a rematch is warranted and it would be big, which is what I said. But then the Haneyacks, when I said it, they said, oh, you're hating on Devin Haney. Listen, I'm going to keep saying, I do not condone cheating. I do not support PED usage. But I will say this, PEDs are not a fix-all to every single thing. And there were a lot of flaws shown from Team Haney, period. You can say whatever you want, but that's the reality. Like PEDs testing positive didn't make Team Haney not have a rematch clause. That has nothing to do with testing positive. Whether Ryan was clean or dirty, that was your team's decision to not have a rematch clause because you arrogantly thought you were going to blow a guy who's beaten you, showed he could beat you in the amateurs. You thought you were going to just piece him up, easy work. PEDs testing positive is not going to force somebody to not have a same-day rehydration clause after the person missed weight by 3.2 pounds. Again, these are personal team decisions that, listen, cheating occurs in all professional sports. Whether people have gotten caught, we know this exists. So to be an expert team and to be an elite team, you almost have to look for the foul. I used this example before. If you have a retail store and you want to stay in business, then you have to have little shrink. You know, you can't just be losing money left and right. So you have to maybe put alarms around certain product groups that are high value items, or lock certain items up at Walmart or Target, because it's not right that people shoplift, aka cheat or steal, or you have thieves in this world, but it's a reality. So knowing that it's a reality, you know, you got to do what you got to do to protect yourself. So that's all I'll say is I think Devin Haney's team, they showed a level of novice by not having any, and I do mean any of these safeguards in play to protect Devin's best interest. Rematch clauses, same day rehydration. Me, if Devin was my fighter, when Ryan came in 3.2 pounds, he would have got hit harder than 650,000 penalty money. You know, it would have been something a lot more severe, and or the fight would be canceled, because you're risking it all, and there's no mulligan, there's no do-overs. So whatever happens, happens. You're risking your life every time you step in the ring and you lace them up. So the right decisions must be made the first time in a lot of these instances in combat sports, especially boxing. You make the wrong judgment call, like, oh, not throwing in the towel. I know it's a movie, but even Rocky IV, the dude was like, throw the damn towel. And they refused to, and then that character dies. Boxing in real life could be like that as well. So decisions become paramount because you have to make the right decisions for your team and for your student or your fighter, etc., etc. Do I want to see the rematch? Absolutely. Are there things, regardless of if Ryan is cheated or dirty, he has his own date with Destiny, May 22nd. Still think there are things that Devin Haney would definitely have to shore up, even if Ryan is clean, or even, you know, just no matter what happens on May 22nd, I still see things that he would have to tighten up on. This would be a dangerous rematch, but it's an important one, in my opinion. Just like Anthony Joshua, he lost to Andy Ruiz. He could have been like, I'm Anthony Joshua. You know, I wasn't supposed to be fighting that guy anyway. Gerald Big Baby Miller, he failed a drug test, so I'm gonna go off and fight somebody else. But Joshua, he took the gamble, took the risk, even though people like myself said, hey, this is super dangerous. Why are you doing this, bro? This is do or die. But he came back focused. He boxed smartly, didn't get hurt again, and got the ugly win. By no means was the Joshua Ruiz 2 a good fight, but sometimes you just got to get that monkey off your back and prove to yourself that you can do it. And I think if Devin Haney doesn't with the rematch, then this could definitely come back to just kind of linger over him, regardless of the whole the drugs fiasco.